Did your thing close yesterday?
It did.
Woo!
It's a nice one, you know. The appraiser fucked us on it.
That's the road one, right?
Yeah, the one with the private maintenance road. It took us a while to handle that. I mean, it was supposed to close at the end of March, but the previous lender fucked it up, and they didn't know it was a mobile home. Like, how do you not know it's a mobile home, bro? Like, where's your intelligence on this thing? Got a new lender, and it just dragged on. It was one issue after the night. Nothing wrong with the house. I mean, they bought it with no inspection too. So I mean, there was no issues with the house. It was all lendings issue, appraisal issues, and yeah. But it's done.
That's exciting.
Held on to that motherfucker for three. I have someone put together a sheet. 343 days.
My word.
We had over a 6-month post occupancy.
Uh-huh.
So she stayed in the property we bought it. It was May of last year, roughly. It was like, so I mean, we're closing in on effing year. She stayed, but obviously for anybody watching, there was a significant profit margin that would warrant us to hold on to something that long.
Yeah.
So,
with the 6 months, I was good to see. Was she paying you rent?
What?
When she was still there, was she paying you rent?
No, I mean, we got this. Listen, dude. We got this confused. We got this so fucking cheap. Well, I'll just say this. We bought it at $80K and sold it for $270.
Holy hell!
Oh my God.
So so the same thing I always tell my team. So we'll buy postdocs and we'll let them stay. I don't charge anything. I don't really care. And again, I'm not going to say that. I usually am the one on the phone. So there's a big. I'm very good at discerning things and people. POS level. How big of a piece of shit are you? And we do hold back. So I mean, we held back. Oh, I don't even know at this point. It's been so long. I don't know. But we hold back typically a large enough amount that it's going to be worthwhile. I'll try to hold back as much as possible until they kick back on me. You know, I'll say 20 grand, 30 grand, whatever, 40 grand. But either way, she was a sweet old lady. Her son was treating her like shit, you know, living in her property. She was trying to live up with her sister and brother, and she couldn't get up there because the piece of shit son was like squatting in her house. Finally kicked him out, and he didn't help her move. I offered to help and pay for the moving trucks to get the property sooner. She said no. She's a control freak. She had to do it herself. Ended up moving up to one of the Carolinas.
Okay.
I mean, such a sweet lady.
Solving problems. See, this is the underserved gold medals that.
But she needed the money to move. She needed to get the rental truck. I mean, and I am sure at the price we bought it at, anybody would have jumped on it for what it was. But it was very well warranted. And I teach my team that when people say they want to stay, we always say, okay, you know, well, we don't say this to them, but it's my price, your terms, or my terms, your price.
Right.
So in this, she wanted extreme terms, and we were willing to give that, and she didn't kick back on the price at all. Mm-hmm. So for us, it was very simple. Hey, listen, you said, what do you need? 3 months, 4 months? She said 6 months. I did a little quick numbers in my head, and we gave it to her.
Nice.
My money guys
were story.
They made a shit ton of money on me, you know, double-digit returns for them, double-digit returns for us. Triple-digit, yeah.
Love it.
So
that's exciting, man. Congrats.
Thank you very much. It's a long time coming. I never want to flip that long ever again in my entire life. Well, there's all kinds of issues you can run into. Steal, property issues. I mean, we did. Oh, yeah. One of the issues we ran into, we had the well all up and running. A fucking lizard ran into the well trigger and got fried. So we had no water during the one appraisal. And so we had to like reschedule, and appraisers are like a week, 2 weeks out. So I had to get a well guy down there, replace the trigger because the lizard got fried. Shit you can't expect.
Only in Florida, right? Hold on.
Yeah, it's in Florida.
Run into your trigger.
Yeah, lizards running in. I mean, I've had shit where like possums get under the house, chew shit up. Like, you know, the longer you hold on to the property, the more issues you're going to have. So
it's true. Very true.
But for anybody watching, no, I do not hold on to our flips for 343 days typically. $1,000 a day, try to be in and out, 30 days.
We talked about that last episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think, your kind of rule of thumb. Yeah, $1,000 a day. That's good.
Definitely didn't follow that rule on this one.
Sometimes there's the exception, right?
Yeah. But either way. So it's good, man. And today's Friday. Trying to finish up the day. You know what I mean? I got this.
Finishing up the week. Well, I think it would be fun, and Carlos can kind of kick this off, talking about what a week structure looks like. Like a physical 7-day, 5-day week, whatever. Not physically week. But yeah, Carlos, why don't you kick us off and let's get started here on
I think it's
fun topics.
It's interesting for anybody that's watching, and John had a good idea for everybody to look at their calendar and just see what their calendar looks like. One, do you even have a calendar where all your real estate or all your business day-to-day stuff? Because there are definitely some wild, wild west cowboys and cowgirls I talk to that some of them don't have a calendar. I told you my life changed after I started working with Investor Fuse and had a calendar. When I was like going on seller lead appointments, literally just had the notes app in my phone, like the address of what I was doing. Can't imagine I was just a barbarian raised by a pack of wolves back in those days. But I think it's curious just to see what everybody's calendar looks like what type of meetings you have. Probably most people watching this have some type of internal meetings. You probably have meetings with sellers, buyers, vendors, anything like that. So I think it's interesting for everybody to kind of pull that up and look at their calendar now. What made me think of that, though, was Papa P and reading books like The One Thing, things like that, where it's a popular idea to do time blocking, where you proactively block out time in your calendar to do some of that work. I have some of that same exact coconut water too. I just got an Amazon grocery last week. It's not too shabby. Not too shabby. Yeah. Not too shabby. I might grab one here soon. But I think it's cool and interesting, and even just psychologically thinking about if you what you have to accomplish, how do you structure your week to optimize it? So Papa P inspired me because he had, I believe it was meetings on Mondays, which is a perfect example of how you can not only time block, but you're really theming the day that you have. And I've done this kind of on and off myself. I don't necessarily have theme days. I guess they kind of come that way by nature. Like Mondays, we have a lot of internal meetings, and then Friday we have this show. I do my weekly review in the morning. So Fridays, definitely I'll have some meetings like sales, or like I was just meeting with Matt V. Brock, more so just touching base with like a high value Investor Fuse and Academy guy. But I think it's interesting to go through that. So I want to hand it off to Papa P and kind of talk through his week as a successful family man and, real estate entrepreneur. What do you think about it?
Well, let's not talk about that first, and let's dial back and say what happens when you don't have it. So we can get into what I have. I just want to say, because I hate when people do this and they're like, "Oh, you're so perfect," or "You have this."
Yeah.
Listen. So I read this 12-week year, and I have a tendency. It took me a while to understand that practice equals progress and not perfection, because I always have this thing of trying to make everything perfect. So when I read this years ago, I went extreme. And I was like a time blocking Nazi. I had the Excel sheet, I had everything color coded, and I wasn't flexible. The problem is the difference between working in your business or on your business. So it wasn't until, I'd like to say it's always like this, but it wasn't until I actually started delegating a lot of my responsibilities, because you could be the best time blocker in the world and say you want your schedule to go a certain way. But if you're still working inside your business, right? And I'm not saying that this is just for business owners, right? But as a business owner, there are so many things that can pull you away and distract you, right? And you have to do them. You don't have a choice if you're in the business, right? And if you're an employee or a salesman or something, you just have one task to focus on, or one action that you need to do, with meetings and all that included. So it could be easier because you don't have 500 other things pulling you away. If you're a salesman, you just got to sell and have your daily meetings, your sales trainings. You don't need to go do bookkeeping. You don't have to go work on the CRM. You don't have to do any of that stuff. So I found that no matter how Nazi I was on my time blocking, because I was still in my business, my time blocking started stressing me out because I was failing at it. and it was overwhelming. And it's like I set such a high standard of what I wanted to follow that all of a sudden John would call and John would be like, hey, let's work on this. Or so-and-so knock on my door and they're like, hey, I need you to solve this problem. Hey, you got to go out to the seller. So what do, Carlos? Do I do what my time blocking says and I work on big ideas? Or do I hop in the truck and I go sign a contract with a seller because I don't have anybody to do that at that time?
Yep.
So it started to crumble. And then it kind of fell apart and I got away from it. And then I was like chaotic. So that's when, like recently, I would say in the last couple of years, I've been really blessed with the people on my team, finding the right people that I was able to delegate. And 2022 is a very big year for me in delegation, as it was with 2020 and 2021, where I was building a lot of restructuring everything. So now, Carlos, I am less rigid on I don't even use an Excel sheet or any of that crap, but I am a vigilant Google Calendar user, to go on what you said. And although I recommend this book because it gave me the framework and like my thesis for time blocking, yeah, I structure everything. But I guess that's a long-winded way of saying, Carlos, is I have the luxury of doing that because I now work on my business. I don't need to go people don't pull me aside to go check on properties. I do that if it's fun and I have time or it's in my schedule, but I don't get pulled to do that stuff. Like if this is scheduled in. That's why I'm here every Friday. And nobody bothers me during this time because you're in my schedule. No offense, guys, but like you guys are in my schedule. Hey, if you weren't in my schedule, or if I didn't have time at 12 o'clock when we were picking a time, I would have been like, yeah, 12 o'clock doesn't work, guys. I already have something else blocked off for that time frame. So that's kind of where I'm at now.
I think that on and that in evolves, though, over time. Because, like, I just did the math, and I honestly like have a problem right now with my schedule. I had 17 meetings this week that all relate to being on the business, not in the business. And then I had 4 meetings that I would say were in the business. 17 meetings with team members, talking about things, planning things, checking in with team members. 4 actually related to like customers or like project-y type stuff, right? So, and then I only had 24% of those on Monday. So I have a time problem right now. And I think, that's just a season of evolution in my career that I'm working through right now. Things have gotten busier. And, I'm starting to focus more on like, okay, I feel the pressure and the stress right now. And I'm busier, and so I need to focus on making the processes to hand those off to people. Anyways, my point being of like on and in change, right? So if relating it to what I do, right, as a CEO of a software company, Investor Fuse, shameless plug, is I used to be on support and on chats, right? And so that is what is the main part of our business is like our customers needing something, needing help, needing a question answered. And I used to be the front lines of that. And then I would be removed, but still very involved. Now I'm very removed from that and barely get involved. And so that would pull me away, right? So I'd want to work on the business. I'd want to create a new marketing plan. I'd want to work on a new product feature, but I'd be pulled away from customers. Now it's different though. Now I get pulled away from employees who have like constant questions or needs or like, let's look at this, like, testing development stuff. A new feature came out. Like I can't predict when our development team's gonna be like, all right, it's done, it's ready for testing. And the longer that I don't test it, the more that they're not working on it. And so even though now I'm very much working on the business, there's still like a lot of stuff that pulls me away, even though, I'd love to like have a deep thought day and do some really serious work. And so I find myself like early in the mornings or late at night are the best times to kind of get some of that hard work done because there are no distractions at that point in time. Yeah. Nobody's going to be sending me an email or a message or anything like that. So like that's like an
I'm sending you one now, like 11 o'clock. I'm just fucking up your schedule now. I'm going to shoot you some emails every night now.
No, that's my time.
But that's the thing, right? Like that's your time.
Yeah.
And, you were saying how you progress from client issues over to not issues, but client distractions to employee distractions. And that's what I'm saying, like for 2022, like delegation. So you guys were asking about like my meeting schedule. So I'm blessed enough to have everything in my company sectioned out into departments. So for any real estate person, we do everything in-house. I don't outsource any type of stuff. So I mean, we have all of our in-house cold calling, marketing, everything's done. So I meet with the heads of every department. Monday, I like to jam everything in. Why? Because I want the rest of the work week to work on other things and leave myself open for outside people. Whether it's money people, other investors, whatever it is. So it's very simple. If you say, let's meet, I just straight up say Monday, I'm not free. And so I'm able to really be able to give my time better to other people because I know where my time is needed. So I know Mondays, it's a shit day, man. Because starting at from 9 o'clock all the way past like 3 o'clock, even to 4 sometimes, like that's it. Every hour on the hour, I have an hour meeting. Yeah. Sometimes I try to rush a meeting because I have my dog and like she's a very high maintenance working dog. So like I have to like exercise her. So like even with that is scheduled in. I know, and I'll rush my one. I'm not going to say which meeting it is, but I kind of push it along, and then I'm like, okay, because I need like 30 minutes with my dog. I'm like, let's wrap this up. I booked it so much, but that does free me up, and I give each manager what they need, and I have learned to let go of the control. Nothing is done the way I want, but things are done the way I need, if that makes sense. They're not done the way I would do them, but they're done good enough for them to get done. We've made progress with it, not perfection. And that's probably the biggest thing I learned to let go of was me, and it was a me problem. No.
Let's reiterate though. That's an important part though. Like go through that again.
It's a me problem because it was I wouldn't get what I wanted, but I would get what I would need. It wasn't done the way I would do it, but it was done the way that was good enough for us to make forward progress, right? Versus perfection. So before I would be like, no. What the fuck is this? What is this? No, this is not how you organize this Excel sheet. We got to do, you know what I mean? And then I would take my time and I would fix it up. But then I would leave it to them. And since I created, they wouldn't know what to do. So now instead we meet Mondays. I give you feedback. We go over what our goals are. Like we go retroactive, talk about what has happened. Okay, what do we need to work on? What are we going to work on? What do they need from me? And then I start connecting the different departments together too. So that way they can all talk without me. Whereas before I was the central hub. Everyone went to me and then I would relay info, and that was also probably control. So once all that happens, man, I mean, I just know what the rest of my week is, and I leave time, right? I leave time for all my sales meetings with my sales team every morning. I leave time. I have calls with my money people. I leave time for my family. Like I know I have to pick my son up at a certain time, and I've made it a real conscious effort to make sure I'm picking him up early from school. Not like getting him out of school, but you know what I mean. People are like, oh shit, he takes his kids out early. I am trying to homeschool, but that's another topic.
I talk all day.
Yeah, and even I joke around with my daughter and stuff because she's in high school and like she wants me, like tonight we have like a video showcase for her. I joke around like, is it in my schedule? Like even my wife, I'll be like, did you send me an invite for that? Now she does not send me invites. I will joke and I get a look like, are you fucking kidding me right now? And I'll be like, is it in my Google Calendar? Do I know that I'm supposed to be doing this? Because I check that at night and I check it in the morning. And if it's not in my calendar, then I don't do it.
I live on
I forget about it.
I have that same issue with my wife. She uses a paper planner, which is fine. It works great for her, and I'm happy for her. But like they don't sync up, right? And so like she'll be like, "Hey, we're going to this thing on Friday." I'm like, "We are," because it's not in my
it's not in my calendar, right? But I will say with like delegation, with the problems you were having, and like so I have it too. So I have recently in the last couple months hired someone to run my entire sales team for me, and he's doing great, getting contracts, loving it. In fact, I feel like maybe I was the bottleneck yet again, and I'd like to say that again for anybody on my team watching. I was the bottleneck, and I think a lot of business owners see that because I can only do so much. So then you release those reins, but because of that, right? So John, like instead of my sales team asking me questions or like we'll say like what you were saying, employees saying, answer this, what about this, what about this? Hey, I sent this contract out. Can you verify it when? Or like, hey, can you check? They go to him. And now that's freed up my time for something Carlos always likes to talk about, which is thinking, right? Like deep thought, planning. And but February, I couldn't do that because I was running the team myself because I had epically failed. I kept churning managers left and right. If you guys follow me, you know I fire a lot of people coming and going, managers.
The Terminator. What's the?
No, that's not me. That's our Gene.
No, that's
and
what I was saying.
Fired somebody else. She just fired somebody again.
Oh man.
So I love her though. She's phenomenal. I couldn't do what I do without her, but she gets mad because she's like, "No, boss, I swear I'm not firing them for no reason. You can ask anybody." And I'm like, "Dude, all I know is our employee count keeps dipping. That's all I know. It keeps dipping."
Oh my gosh. Oh man.
For the rest of your week, I was going to say, Chaz, Brandon, for the rest of your week, it sounds like you kind of have a blend of different stuff, like meeting with your sales team, family time, things like that. Like Monday is the themed meeting day, internal meeting day, hour after hour. Are there any other days that are kind of like themed, or it's just a blend of stuff that you'll do every day and kind of keep it just more so open?
So Fridays, because of my meetings with you, and I have like meetings for REI Ops Center with John in the morning, Fridays are a big talking day for me again. So I try to schedule. Notice how I try to schedule all my talking. Yeah. I'm very much an introvert, so a lot of my extrovert stuff I try to like pack together in certain days.
A very surprising introvert.
It's true. But I do sales calls. So like I'm trying to do mobile home parks right now. So that's something I don't have my team do. So like I have blocked in my schedule where I'm like, okay, so once I get done with all my morning meetings, because I do have morning meetings and I answer my questions and I do my regular work for stuff, boom, usually around 1, 2 o'clock, I'm hitting on the phones and I know I block off like those 2-3 hours right there for me to go through my system, go through any leads, try to get some mobile home park stuff. And if it's not mobile home park, it's other like big real estate stuff I'm working on, like calling we're trying to build. So calling those types of people that I need to do. I schedule that around. So it's very much a blend through the rest of the week, but that is why I I guess you could say bookend my week that way. So in the middle of the week, I could be flexible with what I need to do, because I'll tell you what, man, Monday's stressful. It is. If I had every day like that, I don't know where my energy would come from. It's very taxing on me to talk that much.
But throughout the entirety of the week, is it less, and this is a little playing devil's advocate or like a rhetorical question, but is it less stressful to just have everything just on that one day instead of if you took those, like all the meetings that you have 9 to 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, if you did like one every day in the morning, it's obviously more efficient for you to just do them all.
People ask me that. I get that on Instagram all the time. They're like, well, why do you do them all in, because I post it, why do you do them all in one day? Well, think about this. So the way we analyze our KPIs and our, like, especially our call center data from the prior week, it is important that on Monday I'm running efficiently, right? I want to make sure that there's no issues from last week. And each one of the departments in the meetings that I go through tell me how I can attack my entire week. So if I moved, even if I moved my money meeting, right? Because I have one big money lender who gives me money for all of our deals. If I didn't do that on Monday and go over what deals we have, you know what I mean? We go over all of our deals, our open project costing, how much money we need. That doesn't give my financial team what they need for the rest of the week, or Parker with what he's allowed to buy and where our budgets are at. So no, I mean, I love that I jam it all in because it gives me my runway. Like I can front side focus for the week. You know what I mean? I'm just front side focused the whole week on that instead of worrying about, oh shit, it's Wednesday. Now I only have 2 days to accomplish whatever we need to do. And then they're inevitably going to be reaching out to me ahead of time, which is what used to happen. They'd reach out to me on Tuesday or whatever day it is. So like Monday when I meet with my HR person, I tell her what she needs to do. And I'm watching all fucking week. And I'm like, and then if she doesn't do it, Monday again, we're going to talk, or I reach out to her midweek, let her know I haven't seen what she was supposed to do this week. So that's why I do it. Plus it gives me more flexibility. So if someone called me, I don't need to schedule around those important things. I now have that blended schedule for the week where I could do stuff.
Love it. Fantastic breakdown. As a note to self, John, I'd also love to hear Papa P or Brandon, aka Brandon's most like commonly asked questions from people following you on Instagram, if that's a common one that you
This
get.
is easy. I'm just gonna say this right now. What's your favorite list?
Oh my god.
That's the most common question I get. I don't, most of the time, if I don't actually know them, I won't answer.
The one that I'm calling today.
No, my usual answer is all lists are good. It's just how you hit them. I mean, I think there's no magic list, bro.
I agree with that sentiment as well.
If I had an endless supply of money and data, I would just buy every single address across the country and skip trace them, and I wouldn't give a shit about niche lists or what list. The reason why we do that is because you're limited on funds.
Yeah.
And you're trying to be as cost effective as possible, right?
Yeah. The magic beans. I don't know. I get that all the time too. Just like people think there's some like magical thing that nobody's telling them that once they start doing that one thing, all of a sudden they're going to be successful. You know what the magical thing is? Consistent work. It's your magic bean for the day.
You know, I know this is off topic, but I was on somebody's webinar.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I'm not going to say and I will hop on anybody's webinar. I mean, if I got to pay for something, I don't really care. It doesn't mean they're better than me or worse than me. It means I don't know what I could learn, right? Like sometimes I'll just hop on. So you know what I learned in this one? Although the person's phenomenal, props up to him, that generally people are dumb as shit. So he gets on and he specifically fucking says, I am a sales guy. I am great at sales. That's what I do. If you ask me other questions, I will probably just tell you I don't know because this is what I do. You know what I mean? Like he owns these partners in the company, but like this is my wheelhouse, bro. Like we've divided and separated, and this is what I do. So like the first little bit of the webinar is phenomenal. I mean, he's definitely breaking this process down a lot. And then you start to get like 30, 40 minutes in, and then you get like all the questions. And he straight up said, all we do is absentee data. Literally said that. Mm-hmm. And then people ask him, he's like, I don't know. I'm just a sales guy. Here come the questions. What's your favorite list? What software systems do you use? And I'm like, this motherfucker just kept on saying he doesn't run that side of the business. You know what I mean? Like, where do you get your cold callers from and your marketing from? And I'm like, and they're like, Dispo, what's your average deals? I'm like, wow, this, like, and if it was me, I would have just gotten pissed. Like, I don't have the patience for that. And these people, they don't listen, and they're asking the same questions over and over. And this was supposed to be a high-level sales webinar, you know? Yeah. And this had nothing to do with learning how to wholesale. And my favorite one, how do you do deals virtually?
Gosh.
YouTube, motherfucker.
Yeah.
YouTube. And I felt bad for the guy. And he listen, patient. He tried. He kept saying, hey, I don't know the answer to man, he did better. He composed himself better than I would have composed myself. I honestly would have ignored him. I just would have been reading the questions and fucking ignored him. But that's the thing, man, is you get asked those questions and it's like, I don't know. There was someone else I saw that did that too. Tiffany High. I was watching one of her videos and she said that she had gotten off the phone crying. It's one of her posts. She was like, I got off the phone crying after I was helping so many people online on social media. And she was like, she got off the phone crying because it was like she was so upset because she literally is answering the same questions over and over and over. She's making videos about them. She's talking about them. She's taking calls about them. And it's like nobody learns. So that's when she developed her course. And I was thinking, like, I could see why you always wonder why people make the courses. I get it, because they're like, if I'm doing this for free and you're not going to learn, hey, I might as well. If you're not going to learn anything, people don't learn if you don't charge them for it, I feel.
Oh, that's totally a thing. Mm-hmm. There is like the mentality of, somebody's like phrased the wording, maybe it was Russell Brunson, but skin in the game. If you don't have skin in the game, then you're, he says it in his book. Because I've been listening to one of his books. And he's like, I have this course that people pay $50,000 for. And I have invited friends and family to come and be a part of this mastermind. Not once has any one of them gone on to make money? You know, the people that do make money, the ones that spend $50,000, because you are putting value to what you are learning, and you understand and internalize that you have to go implement, or you just wasted $50,000. Where if you just show up and it's free, it's like, well, I'm just wasting my time. Who cares?
Yeah.
So
That's that point. And I get it. I get where she's coming from. A lot people are, I don't know, just nicer. You know, they have a higher tolerance level. But, and when everyone makes fun of people for selling courses, well, obviously she has the experience and everything, but I'm just getting down to the fact that, like, it's the people asking the questions that pose the biggest problem, because when I started in this business in 2009, 10, we didn't have, was YouTube even around? I don't think YouTube was I don't know.
Might have been,
it was around, but didn't have like real estate education, wholesaling, I would say, ready available is probably.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't understand, if you have all this information at your fingertips, how you can't capitalize on that.
Because it's easier to ask the question than to do the research.
Yeah, like, what's your favorite list? How do you wholesale deal? You hopped on a sales webinar and you're going to ask the fucking guy how you run a virtual operation when he told you that he's only the sales guy. That's the guy who doesn't, that's the guy who doesn't make money right there. Whoever asked that question, I got fucking $1,000 says that bitch ain't making any fucking money.
Oh yeah.
You know, like, and people will be butthurt about that too. Like, oh no, you got to be, people are asking questions. You have to answer them. You have to be of service to people. The fuck I do, man. You get to choose who you want to be of service to, right? There has to be an exchange, right? If you deem them to be not of value by the stupidity of their questions, I feel like you have the right to call them stupid. Sorry.
Good.
I said it.
Agreed.
Yeah. I mean, we get asked that question too when we do webinars talking about investor queues and follow up and acquisition and CRM system. What's the best list to use?
Mm-hmm.
No, like, there's nothing to do with what I do.
And it's the way you ask it too. It's like, it's not like somebody came out and said, "Hey, Carlos, you know, I started using absentee lists and I only got X amount of results from it. And then I moved on to high equity and, you know, man, we got a couple leads from it, but I'm wondering, what's your lead ratio like for your contacts? And like, do you find that there's a better list out?" It's the intelligence of the way they're asking, but that's not how they do it. It's like, it's a selfish, gimme.
Yeah.
That's it right there. Yeah.
Right. And so if you came at me like that, I'd be like, okay, I understand where you're coming from. Let's have a conversation, because I feel like you and I could debate that then. Let's talk about lead ratios, contact ratios, and how your opportunity ratios look based on a lead or on a list. But that's not what they do. It's just give me, Carlos, what's your favorite list? Can I get your script?
Yeah. Can I get your script? Like, that's the magic.
Can I get your metrics, please? Can you share that with the group? And then you're put on the spot. And then you feel like an asshole if you don't.
Yeah.
So that's
very accurate. Very accurate.
Well, let's go back in time until we went off on a little tangent there and kind of wrap up theme in your week. I think an interesting question I'd like to ask both of you guys' opinion on is, do you feel like the average team meeting that you have could be shorter? Or, like, let's just say, you know, an hour-long department meeting. You think you could accomplish the same amount of functionality in 30 minutes that you do in an hour? The basis, I'm trying to get to the question of, like, do we spend too much time in meetings?
I'll just fucking end the meeting.
Yeah.
Like, an hour is only the block.
How often do your meetings go to the full time then?
Not all the time. I mean, unless we run into a problem.
Yeah.
But I would agree with you. I mean, we get more efficient the more we do them.
Did you guys put like an agenda on each meeting?
In a sense, yes. We are, so depending on what you're referring to, we have, it's what I said earlier. We talk about what has happened, you know, We talk about what's happening right now or the numbers that we're looking at now. And then we talk about what we need to do. So it's like the past, the present, the future.
Yep.
So whatever that meeting is about. So if it's sales, if it's KPIs, right? If it's deals, what deals do we already have in the bucket? You know what I mean? Where are we at on selling those deals or flipping those deals? You know what I mean? And then, okay, what do we have coming down the pipeline that we need to be prepared for? So, I mean, that's just the theme for every one of our meetings, past, present, future.
Love that. Yeah, we're trying to get better about the agenda part. There are several regular meetings that we have like a pretty clear, if this is what we're talking about in the exact order which we do it. I still feel like there's some that could be, fine tuned a little bit so that we can be as on topic as possible and as because really it's that time, right? It's that you need the time to move your business forward, and so it's important to have the meeting, but making sure that they're as on topic as possible. So
I think part of
Monday.
it is
Go ahead,
I think
Carlos.
part of it is culture a little bit. You could always make a meeting shorter, or like everybody could just type in like into a Slack channel or Basecamp, whatever your choice is there that you want to that your team communicates with. But it depends a little bit on culture. Like Mark Evans, one of his books, I forget which one it is. It might have been a virtual wholesaling book from a while ago. He wants to be in and out of a meeting as soon as possible. Everybody pretty much enters the meeting, zero chit chat. You're just reporting like scorecard type numbers. We're like us, and I'm sure a lot of companies, like it's nice. There's like a little bit of a qualitative aspect of like touching base, especially if you're 100% virtual. There probably is some nice stuff for culture, morale, qualitative stuff, how people are doing, how's the team doing, things like that. That could probably shorten the meeting, but I think it's something you're probably always optimizing too. It's like you're changing the structure a little bit, figuring out how to get through these. Like even like these, like we meet a little bit before, we talk during the week about topics, and like, everything is always kind of you're reflecting and optimizing a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a fine line, Carlos.
It is.
You don't want to be too wild. Like you want to structure, but you also have to be flexible with it. But if you're too flexible, then you start to lose your theme or your purpose, I guess, your perspective on what we're trying to achieve to begin with. So yeah, I'm with you. You could go. It could go bad either way, though.
Yeah. I think the culture point, like people, I'm sure there's somebody out there that's like, well, yeah, but when it's an in-office team, we have super quick meetings and it's just like a quick conversation and we're off to the races. But it's like, okay, virtual team, they may only see each other all three. Like, so for example, our executive team meeting, it's pretty much the only time that week that we all see each other together. And so, yeah, we do chit chat a little bit there. But if we were in the same office, every single day there'd be the water cooler conversations.
Yeah.
So it's like, we fit all of that into, 15 minutes at the beginning of our meeting, and then we go through the agenda, and we're not spending the rest of the week, like at various times, interrupting each other's work, having a chit-chatting conversation. Felt like to eat a cocoa there.
I'm with you, John. I'm sorry. I was just, I'm with you though. Exactly what you're saying. When you're in office, it's different. Virtual office, like Carlos said, you have your Slacks, we use Teams, Microsoft Teams, because we have Microsoft products. It's just different. It's a lot easier. When I was mostly in-house, I just like, hey, and that was more distracting. They would come over with papers. I had one guy, no fucking shit. I'm not gonna say any names. He's not with me anymore, but still, he would come over and I'd be like sitting here and he'd just be like standing. And I would like look up and I'd be like, what's up, man? I'm on the phone. He's like, I'll wait.
Oh my God.
And I'd be like, hey, I'm going to call you back. I'm like, what's up, man? Like, what can I do? And he would do that. And I had to tell him numerous times, like, hey, man, like, if I'm on the phone, just go back to your desk. Like, just wait for, like, it's a small office. Like, you can know when I'm off the phone. He would just stand there and they'd be like, what's going on up there?
Oh, man.
Open door
It's like that
policy.
scene in,
yeah, which is good too in its own
Hell.
way. But anyway, I feel like you give them the structure of what they need. Yeah, I do the past, present, future. We go over our numbers, but you have to understand the flexibility of it, especially as like I'm creating new stuff right now, when you're working on new things, there's a lot of fixing and problem solving that everyone has to be involved in. Those ones go longer. But I'm not afraid to shut a meeting down if it doesn't go anywhere, especially like when I meet with the cold call team. And if they don't ask questions, I'm just like, all right, you don't have any questions for me?
Grab a bag.
Meeting done early. That's their time for me, and if they don't want to take advantage of that, that's on them.
Yeah,
Love it.
I agree. So I will add one last element to this, at least from my side. So there's department meetings and having those weekly. I do think that one-on-ones are also important. So, I mean, that's like I said at the beginning, it's like I have 17 phone calls this week. A portion of those are department meetings, and then a portion of those are one-on-ones with my other managers. So I think that those are important, especially for what we're doing, but because they're directing other people, and I want to make sure that they have all the resources they're needing, and it's their time for them one-on-one with me to give feedback, to talk about things that they wouldn't talk about on a department meeting. So making sure that you have that as well, and those are usually super quick. Those are 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And sometimes even less, when we get on the call, where the department meetings can be an hour long, or those need to be cut short then because we're out of topics, and those need to be cut short as well.
There's a big difference with running a virtual team and an office team, and I feel like there's a misconception of what running a virtual team or company means. Because, we've also talked about how people want to take advantage of VAs and assume a VA is a superhero, and that here, go do all this, and fuck you, you'll figure it out, and I've never done it, but you'll do it, and I want it all done today or tomorrow, and you could do 7 different things, even though we all know people should just focus. And that's the thing, is people get into the virtual business thinking that, oh, that means I can be on a beach, I can be laying around, and my team's just going to do everything without me. And in a sense, I get it. Could I? Right now, they haven't said anything to me since 11 o'clock. It looks like was my last year welcome or whatever. You know what I mean? Email or team message. So yeah, for the last hour, I could have been poolside, but that's not how it is. You have to try harder to run your virtual team because you lack the water cooler advantage. You lack the physical or personal face-to-face touch. So people get in the virtual thing thinking, oh, I never have to talk to them. I'll just give them a course, or I'll give them the process. They'll do it, and they'll know what to do, and everything will run smooth. And maybe I'll meet with them once a week or once a month. And that's not how it is. I mean, like you said, Teams that's how they reach out to me. I mean, they'll hop on. We do video chats. I require everyone to have a webcam. I want to look at your fucking face. I don't.
Amen. Yes.
I don't. Some people are embarrassed, especially different countries. I'm like, I don't give a shit what your place looks like, dude. I just want to see you. Okay. I don't fucking care if you're in the bathroom right now. Just turn your fucking camera on.
Yeah. Yeah. We've been virtual since the very beginning. So whatever, 6 and 7 years now. And in the beginning, we didn't have a camera policy. I don't even know if I don't remember, but I think probably 3 years, Carlos, 3-4 years, we've been everybody camera on.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's super important.
I need to see. Someone's like, oh, someone made a sly comment to me, and he's probably watching right now, and he fucking knows because I fucking was not happy. I was like, turn your camera on for the sales meeting. He's like, why, boss? It's not like you can see my face when I'm on the phone with a customer. I'm like, no. They can fucking hear if you're smiling, so turn your camera on so I can make sure your facial expressions are correct while I was fucking pissed. You know what I mean? Fuck no, put a kibosh to that shit. Because cameras are important, but I've seen some wild shit too. I'm not gonna lie, that's one of the beauties. I've seen people get embarrassed because straight up they'll be in their bedroom sitting at a desk, and a family member just comes in a towel and just plops down on the bed, and they're like,
yeah.
That's happened to me too.
I've seen some stuff. I've seen some stuff on Zoom meetings over the last 6 years.
Listen, man, there was one time I walked in, my wife was I didn't know she was on a call, and I was shirtless. I was getting ready to go for a run. She was working late, and I just walk in and I'm not guys, I wear black because it's thin, very slimming. Oh, I got my stomach's hanging out, and she's like, what a call? I'm like, I did that. Oh my God,
so
shit. But it happens, man. And you know what? That's the beauty of it, because we're all humans. It's and I like to think of everyone on our team as family. I try to do for the long-term thing. So I
Yes.
know I get a lot of shit from a lot of bigger investors who run an in-house team, who give me shit for running a virtual team because it's supposedly not as hard, and everyone's entitled to their opinion. But I'd be damned if I wouldn't say it's fucking harder.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm. It has its benefits, it has its downfalls, and I think it's just as hard.
I think there's a misconception about it. I think people abuse it, and I think that's why when you go into the virtual business, and it was hard for me too. You go into a virtual business, you're like, I'll fucking do this so I could just be at the beach all day and by the pool, and I never have to answer calls or anything. Fuck that shit, dude.
I think what excited me a little bit about virtual was a little bit more freedom. Like I worked from home half the last 6 years. I've been around. My kids are now, my oldest is 11, something like that, 12 maybe. And so I've seen a lot, and that's been great. But what really excited me about the virtual process was not the freedom that I would get, but the freedom to pick the best employees. I was not geographically constrained to saying, here in my local 10-mile radius is where I must somehow find rock stars. When going virtual, I can find rock stars anywhere in the country, for us, anywhere in the globe.
Look at Carlos. I mean, he's a fucking rock star, and he was up in Baltimore, you know? I don't know what is that like?
Guitar?
Oh, rock art. Yeah, gotcha. Now he's in Miami. I had one of the reasons why I went virtual. I was talking to a buddy, Esteban. He's the one who started me on the virtual. I'll give him full credit for it because I thought he was fucking
Facebook guy?
Huh? Esteban Castro. He's another investor, and I thought
I was gonna say that'd be fun. I'm having dinner with him tomorrow. I was like,
no. He's started out wholesaling, doing some bigger stuff now, and I was like, fuck that shit, dude. That's so dumb. Like, you know, and I didn't say it to him. I was kind of like agreeing with him, but in my head, I'm like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard him say. Virtual is never gonna fucking work. Blah blah blah. And you know what, man? I'll eat my fucking words or my thoughts because he was spot on it, and I thought about it, and I kept thinking about what he said and his logic and reasoning for it. And the more and more I thought about it, I was like, he's onto something here. And I had problems hiring because I'm in a little rural town in the middle of Florida. I'm not in Tampa. I'm not in Orlando or Miami. We have a limited demographic here of people who actually want to hustle and make money. So I went virtual, bro. And so I give credit to Esteban for me going virtual because he was the reason where I got the idea from right before it was right during COVID time. So he's like, bro, it's the wave of the future. It's what everyone's going to do. And I'm like, that doesn't mean I don't have an office. And we're remodeling we're going to start remodeling our actual bigger office. I own a commercial space. I'm still going to have an office. I still need people in my office. You know, because we do flips locally. We have admin, like we have to do stuff here. But so that doesn't mean I have no physical location. I do. I just don't need to have 20 employees or all my cold callers, closers, dispo. I don't need all that here locally.
The guy Esteban 10 years ago is like, Brandon, there's this digital currency that goes on a thing called the blockchain, digital ledger. Please buy some right now, and in 10 years,
you want to know what?
This in virtual offices.
No. I want to clarify, okay? And somebody said this to me. It was because of the persona of what real estate investing was prior to COVID. Of you had to have a 5,000 square foot office. Yeah. You had to have this team. You had to run it like your high school football team. You know what I mean? All guys club, all this shit. And so in my head, that's what I was thinking, and that's what I had at the time, right? Like everyone was in house. We had a great culture. You know, we played games, the fun shit. So as soon as he said it, I rejected it without thinking of it.
Yeah.
So yes, Carlos, if he would have said Bitcoin, I would have rejected it because that was my mindset. Rejection. Don't absorb and think about it. It took me a month or so of really absorbing what he said and then making it into my own thing where I started building that business or that structure of my business up. And it took almost a year and a half to finalize everything and get everything pumping and working. So there was a downtime. Talk about seasons. You have to be prepared to have a step back season in order to rebuild and push forward.
Love that.
So, yeah, Bitcoin. Fuck. I wish somebody would have said some shit to me in 2009 about fucking Bitcoin, okay?
Yeah, that'd be cool. Somewhat relevant news for cryptocurrency. I think at the end of this month, there's like the design district, like is the neighborhood, just directly north of me. But the designer stores like Gucci, there's like Gucci, Louis Vuitton, all those stores are accepting crypto payment at the end of this month. You guys may have, it's like in Miami, Los Angeles, and Atlanta maybe. Don't quote me on that.
Listen, man, and they need to get, long before I'm buying shit with crypto, they really need to get this tax thing handled, okay?
All right. Mm-hmm.
The moving of funds is not easy to track for a tax perspective, as I had to go through that for tax season this year of trying to organize all of my crypto maneuvering. It's hectic, man. We can get into politics, but like, I just don't feel like it should be taxed.
No.
It's because I'm buying some shit. I get the government's got to get their piece, but like, there's got to be different classifications for it.
Mm-hmm.
Got to be different classifications.
Yep. I agree with that sentiment as well.
I don't know.
Agreed.
But yeah, it's big news for crypto. The other big news is crypto's down big. There's more reason why to buy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, crypto's the only industry. You know, my wife always says it whenever I'm getting excited about crypto and we joke around about the office. She's like, you know, I'm like, crypto's down, gotta buy more, fucking awesome. Crypto's up, gotta buy more, fucking awesome. She's like, it doesn't matter whether it's down and you're fucking losing money or whether it's up and you're making money. It's always the best thing. Why is that? I was like, because it's the future, baby. It's the future.
Oh, gosh.
But yeah, so I love it. Doesn't matter whether it's down or up. Just keep on buying.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And in other news of the globe, Atlanta has passed an interesting law. Actually, I don't want to speak out of my butt here because I don't know a whole lot other than the headline. Is that they go ahead?
They're making Airbnbs. They're limiting the amount of Airbnbs and putting a license on it.
Oh, they're putting a license on it too.
Yeah. So that's not the only place. So like, I know certain vacation spots require that, where you have a vacation rental license. Which again, that's fine. Everyone's got to wet their beak a little. Everyone's gonna make a little fucking money. But they did it, they said, because they're hoping this will put some homes back into the pool for regular people to buy. And I think that is phenomenal. I laughed when I saw it, and I was like, go for it, dude. But that sucks for some people. Even here locally, I question some people's Airbnb. I think Airbnbs are very good ways to generate revenue, but I also question some of it. And I could see Atlanta, because if you think about the supply, right? We talk about supply and everyone's complaining about how large investment companies own everything, when actually, like, as a percent based on homes between, I think it was like 2007-8 compared to the available supply now, we LLCs, investor corporations, own or are buying a lower comparative percentage than they were during the last boom, essentially.
Yeah.
But they did it because they want to increase supply. So yeah, I mean, there's a couple in my neighborhood. I drove down and I was like, oh shit, I didn't even know this house was for sale. Airbnb bought it and they're making it all, sexy and pretty. But a regular person never had the chance for it. You know what I mean?
In Lakeland?
Yeah, in Lakeland.
Who's gonna go to Airbnb in Lakeland?
It's a thing, man. It's a thing. We don't have a lot
Esteban said invest there in 10 years. You'll see.
Did. Esteban. But there's not a lot of hotels in Lakeland. We just built another one. It's that type of town. I think our entire population, the entire MSA of the entire county is like 600,000 people. So it's a tiny little area. But yes, I could see that adding on. But if they did that, if other cities took over on that, it would have a serious impact on people's businesses. And are they going to have a grandfather law? That's a question. What
Yeah, I was
happened?
curious about that because I know. I mean, I was staying at Airbnbs in Atlanta before, and the dude had like 7. I was like, oh, the
So
hell's he gonna do now?
are you gonna force me to fucking sell them? So
Right.
that's the thing is I don't know enough about it. But
Mm-hmm.
my questions are what happens if I go for my 7th license or my 3rd license? Are you gonna not approve me and then say, hey, you don't gotta fucking sell, bro, but you're gonna have to long-term rent it out? And then we all know that's why I joke around about Airbnbs if you follow me on Instagram, because people, when they don't know what else to do with a property because it's too expensive, they say Airbnb, great Airbnb, because we know that rent rates don't work on the long term for a lot of these currently in today's market because of the way prices are. Rents are catching up, though. Rents are going crazy too. But so then, what do? Would you take a loss? Like, would you take a lower percent instead of making that insane percent? What if now you rent it out long term, you're only getting like 5-6%? Or is that effectively forcing that person to sell because that's too low of a return for them? And then they got it furnished. So what the fuck do they do?
Brandon, you're going too fast for my little brain to comprehend. There's like so much that you just said.
I just don't have any answers is all I'm trying to say. Those are all the questions when I read that article that went through my head. Like, what's going to happen to all the furniture?
Yeah.
Is Craigslist business is about
How are they going to enforce it? That's like my first question. Like
the license. So
they went to Airbnb and said it's illegal for Atlanta properties to be on without a license. That's what I'm saying.
No. Well, I don't actually know the answer to that, but I would imagine. So it's who makes permitting when I rip out some walls and I redo the electric. Who makes permitting illegal or catches me? Well, nobody initially, unless I catch the eye of somebody or somebody drives by and sees a bunch of freaking fat workers drinking Coronas outside with the electrical wires hanging from the fucking ceilings. Now I'm in deep shit. So imagine if the city worker just wanted to log on to Airbnb and they just go through a list of addresses and go, whoa, I don't see these on the permit. Yeah, the license list. Let's go fucking knock on these doors and put a red tag on it. That's what they'll do on permitting. They'll put a red tag on the thing.
Mm-hmm. I do think like this.
I don't think that they're going to go to Airbnb. I don't think it would be really. I don't think it's rocket science. It would be a really fun job. It's like writing a speeding ticket. It'd be a really fun job for some shitty city worker who hates life. Who's like, you know what I'm gonna do today? I'm gonna write up some Airbnbers today.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and do it.
I think it's like an interesting turn of events. Like, you know, you would hear of like homeowners associations or cities outlawing Airbnb because they didn't want the people to come to that area and be like, you know, involved in their area. Now it's like the reason they had to do this was because so many people are buying Airbnb properties that people that actually want to live and work in a place to buy.
So let's be clear. Yeah, let's be clear. It has nothing to do with that they're bad for the neighborhood.
Exactly, yeah.
Because Airbnbers, to their credit, a lot of the small-time ones especially, they keep those properties impeccable because you have to if you want to get good ratings, you want to get good rates. I stayed in a pretty shitty corporate one owned by a big corporation, and me and my wife, I mean, the shit was falling apart. But you know what, dude? It was by the beach. I didn't really give a shit. Mm-hmm. But they're not bad for the neighborhood per se, unless you want to say that people are loud. Because when we Airbnb, there were all Airbnbs around it. Damn, those college kids were loud as fuck. I mean, they were just drinking, smoking, screaming all hours of the night. And I can see where that pisses people off. But you can't say they're ugly properties. Whereas I can fucking say long-term rentals are probably worse for a fucking neighborhood than short-term because long-term landlords give zero shits about their property, and so do the tenants. Tenants don't care. Vines will be growing off the side of the fucking house before they take care of that shit. Not my house, not my problem is what tenants say.
Mm-hmm. It's really interesting, like that dichotomy. But yeah, the fact that like so many Airbnbs. So my long-term goal, and not super long-term, like short-term 2-3 years, is I want to start buying property in North Carolina where I love to go on vacation. But
let's do it, bro.
So many people.
Same thing, dude.
Well, I'm kind of worried that the inventory is not going to be there because everybody is buying vacation rental properties in the mountains of North Carolina.
Just wait, dude. When I was down, when I got into real estate in 2009 and I came to Florida, you know, I mean, the first house that goes in an economic crisis is your vacation home. The first thing people stop doing is vacationing, and it fucks. And some of these Airbnbs are so tight on their numbers, and they have payments too, or they're carrying a mortgage, seller care, whatever they did, seller financing, whether it's a regular investment loan or whatever it is. Man, that was the majority of when I used to work for the banks, the majority of the things that were going into foreclosure were vacation second homes. And it was just, and that's why like Davenport and Kissimmee for around Disney, those things, man, you were buying 3,000 square foot homes for like 60 G's. Now they're like $500,000 again. And it's like, you'll get your time, man. I mean, but I know what you mean. Me and my wife, we're actually going up to Lake Glenville in June because we wanted to start looking at lakes that we want to buy a very large lakefront vacation home on to Airbnb it and to have for our family.
Florida people were like, people up north may not understand this, but Florida people would love to stay on a lake that you can actually swim in.
Yeah.
Or not get eaten by an alligator.
Yeah, for us Florida people, lakes are a very big thing. We can't swim. I mean, that's not true. Local people swim in the fucking lakes, dude. I will just never go anywhere near where an alligator is going to get me. Oh, yeah. So I want to be up in North Carolina. I want my kids to be able to jump off a dock and swim, and I want to go fishing, and I want to not worry about like getting eaten.
Yep.
I want to be the apex predator. I don't want to be the bait. You know, But anyway, I agree with you, and that's when I went to that mastermind. That's what they did. Is he had a beach house that he owned and bought many years ago, and he rents it out. I mean, he makes a shit. He went through his numbers. That's what changed my mind. He went through how much money he was making on it. And he's like, and the rest of the year, we're back at our house. And when me and my family want a vacation in our favorite vacation spot, we come here. In the meantime, we have great property management, great cleaning. They take care of everything. And we come back here and we can use it whenever we want for our family or to host masterminds. And I was like, this is,
that's awesome.
Yeah. But I mean, it can be risky. And I mean, I think everybody was like, Airbnbs are a great thing. And then COVID hit and people were like, I don't want to travel anymore. I guess that's a rare circumstance to happen.
Airbnbs are a great thing. They provide a service for what is needed. All I'm saying is some people, when you're desperate to build your portfolio, some of the numbers they're buying them at, should we, and I'm not saying we will, but should we hit an economic crisis, those are going to be
risky.
Those are the first homes to go. What are you giving up? You know, are you giving up your investment home or your personal home when you can't pay the bills?
Well, I wonder if flipping Airbnb businesses will become a thing. We have stayed at a, like what you were saying, a beachfront, like just tiny little stupid thing, but it's a beach. My kids go to a summer camp up there near coast, whatever. Anyways, we contacted the guy and he's like, oh, I just sold it to somebody, but they're going to list it on Airbnb and do the exact same thing. So they literally, like, he sold the Airbnb and the other people just kept all the reservations and 100%. Didn't change anything. It's just like he had it. It was his thing. And now he sold it for profit. And then the other people are using it as an investment as well.
So I looked at one, and I don't remember the numbers. This was, after the master, me and my wife were diving in deep when we booked this vacation. But anyway, that's what it was. And there was $70,000 of future bookings that you would carry on. So that was the sales pitch, right? I went through listings, and the sales pitch was buy this, it comes furnished. You can buy it with the management and all these future bookings, or cancel the bookings and make it your own personal home. And I was thinking, damn, I would love to take that over and have some instant income. We decided we want to pick our lakes. So we're going to start vacationing at different lakes, figure out what one we like, and then go for the purchase at a future date.
Yeah.
Love that.
That'd be interesting. I mean, I wonder too, like somebody comes in, like here's a crappy listing on Airbnb. I'm going to wholesale it-ish from that buyer, change the listing, improve the house, and then sell it to somebody who wants to keep it long-term.
Well, that'd be, Jen, you may, I don't know.
It's a good HGTV show.
So turnkey rentals, but they do it for long term. You buy a house, get it all ready, get it rented, sell it to somebody. I mean, I don't know if that's even a thing, John. Maybe you just invented something, or maybe that'd be someone Carlos might know that does that. Buying, getting Airbnbers up, and then getting it fully booked out with management, and then putting it on the market. as an Airbnb, turnkey Airbnb.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody does. I'm not
Yeah,
that
the closest
smart
thing
about
is just
things.
the closest thing is just that I see and you guys have seen is just arbitrage, like a regular signing a regular lease and then Airbnb-ing it out underneath
see
that.
that.
Like that's what my friend's about to start doing in South Beach here. That's moving down from Baltimore too.
Yeah, I see that a lot. In Facebook groups, I saw someone posing that question too. So there's many ways of doing it. Like that's the beauty about real estate, man. There are so many ways to make money. All you got to do is pick something and
Be consistent.
do it.
Mhm.
And I like to think of like in real estate, when you pick something, you need to pick 2 to 3 different things, and they can all be in the same wheelhouse. But you need your activity, right? You need your short term, and then you need your long term big play. Like too many. What I mean by that is like there's a way to generate your income, okay? And it's going to be tough really scaling your flipping business if you're living off of your flipping income. Like if every time you're flipping a couple houses a year and you have to live, you and your wife have to live off that, it's going to eat a lot of your profit. So I would say there's an activity, something like wholesaling is great. You wholesale, you generate your income, you pay yourself, you take the excess profit, get loans, go flip. But what's your long-term play? You know, what is it? Is it multifamily? Is it software? Is it luxury flips? Is it Airbnbs? You know, mobile home parks, whatever it is. And like too many people get in and they're like, I'm a flipper. That is that's a short-term thing. Not short-term, you can do it long-term. That's a small mind thinking. You should have 3 different things that you're working on. Your activity, your short-term income, and then what is your long-term $100 million play? What is that? What's going to get you out 100 mil, 200 mil? Well, what is going to get you that fucking luxury yacht or that private island?
Mm-hmm. That's a great perspective.
Yeah. So, and that's the way I started thinking when I started hanging out with people a shit ton richer than me. And I started to notice that they all had these 3 different things. Necessarily what they were generating income on wasn't their big play. For some it is, you know, some people hit it big, but I'm just saying they had, like, I noticed everyone was doing like 3 or more different things. And I was like, so just flipping isn't the answer, right? Like,
and we're, just to be clear, not promoting, as we've talked about in also other episodes, hey, I just started in this industry. I'm going to go try 3 different things.
No.
What we're saying is think about where you want to go. Think about what you want to do. And I love that, though. Activity, short-term, long-term.
Yeah, your big, hairy goal, right? Like your $100 million. And that's what me and my wife have, $100 million goal. But to go with what you said, I lost a lot of people. So, like, especially employees who thought I was stupid, which, good for them. But Brandon, you know, you got to buy this and flip it. And I used to be a flipper, right? But when I started wholesaling, I wanted to master wholesale. Not master as in perfection, but master as in understand how to build the organization, the operation, and focus. And so you get a deal and they'd be like, man, but we can make, instead of 8 G's, we can make like 30 G's if you buy it and flip it. Oh, you should buy this and hold this. You should buy this and flip this. We should flip this one together. And my answer was no. Now, when you tell somebody in real estate, one of your employees, like a hungry person, no enough times, they start to say, well, I might as well just go do it myself. But they just didn't get the big picture. It wasn't no, not yet. It was, hey, listen, we need to build this. Now you see that I'm flipping and I'm trying to build and I'm doing all these other things because I have done that. And now I'm working on what I call my $100 million goal is.
Yep.
And that took years, man. That wasn't like an overnight, because if I would have been flipping there, I mean, I would have been distracted.
Yep. Every time you say no, you say yes to something else. Every time you say yes, you say no to something else.
Me and Carlos both made the same face. We're like,
my price, your terms, my price.
Lots of little great snippets today.
Yeah, that's a very good way of putting it, man. I mean, I've never thought of it like that. But yeah, I lost a lot of people because of that. Because they wanted to go do their own thing because they felt like there's better ways. And maybe I don't know. I don't follow them. I don't know what they're doing. But I just had goals, man. And you got to focus on them, and you can't be distracted. Everything comes in due time.
Absolutely. Patience.
Indeed.
Patience and hard work.
Indeed.
Well, hey, this has
Coconut
been a
water.
fun
This is
time.
good. You know, we got to open this up for questions at some point for all of our viewers.
We do. As our audience grows, please share this show so more people come. We would love to have an interactive conversation with you. And if you write in the comments, I can see you. Like, post things.
Do we have comments?
We don't have any comments today. We've had the most viewers we've ever had, but no comments.
I dig it. Hopefully they enjoyed our talk today.
Absolutely.
Time blocking, Airbnb.
Time blocking. On and in the business. Man, we went through a lot.
All right, guys. Well, lock and load. Our biggest fan just commented there. So there you go. Great show.
Thanks, Brittany.
Love that.
Well, till next week, I guess.
Boom.
We'll talk more things as we do every Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern.
12 p.m. Eastern. Keep it open.
Keep it open, guys. See you next time.